Okay, guys, I thought I had said enough about the lost tip narrative, but just when you think you've got everything you can from a couple of pieces of paper, you find more problems, more issues. I've been watching a couple of the other creators and also seeing stuff on X about this, and I'm kind of trying to amalgamate all of the different issues with this together. You know, if you've been watching the last few lives, that I've been talking quite a lot about this lost tip narrative, Kathy Shank particularly, and her testimony. But there's even more going on with this, and I just can't even organize it all now because there's just so much. So honestly, it really is the gift that keeps on giving. There are so many elements attached to this story of the lost tip that are mind blowing. So let's go into the latest developments. And a lot of this is going to be speculation today. I'm going to show you things that look unusual and going to give you a couple of different hypotheses about why that might be happening or why that might have happened, I suppose, is probably a better way of saying it. But I'm not at all saying that any of this is proven. Yes, we're going into conspiratorial territory, or at least deeper into it than we have previously. But I think that these exhibits and this testimony around this and the story around this really warrant that. So let's start firstly on the issue of these multiple exhibits showing very similar things. Copies of the same sheet. Now, I came across this. Peggy was speaking about this, and it was something I hadn't noticed. I'd really just been looking at Exhibit 228. I hadn't really looked at Exhibit 229, but if you do look at 229 next to 228, you see something interesting. So, have a look at this side by side. The first one is Exhibit 229, and the second one pages from Exhibit 228. Now, the story that we've been told is that 228 is the paperwork that Kathy Shank found on her miraculous mission in 2022. And the one on the left is supposedly, well, it's presented into trial as Exhibit 229 during Doolan's testimony as the lead sheet that he received. First of all, issue with that. Doolan says he had the lead sheet, he wrote notes on the back of it, and then he typed those, and then they were entered into Orion. Now, we have the type notes and we have obviously the Orion narrative summary. But if this is actually the original sheet that he was given, where are the notes on the back of it? Why can't we read those notes? So, first anomaly there. Second issue is that these two pieces of paper here matches, but also importantly, and this is something, as I said, that I saw Peggy speak about, is that we've got these lines that go through it and they are identical. Now, one of them is more faded than the other one, but clearly it's the same line. Whoever drew this line, I'm guessing 229 is the original. It's then been photocopied, and 228 is the copy that somebody has then written on, right? And probably two people have written on because we've already So here's where I'm confused because if indeed the first one is Doolan's one, then we know Doolan didn't write anything on the front of it. Who wrote the stuff on the front? Well, this is now another person. And another person has then written lead cleared too. So we've got now three people who have looked at this sheet, right? Along with all the number of other people written on all of these Orion sheets that we've already talked about. So we've got apparently I looked this up that it's been entered or assigned or something. I don't know if I'm right there. Obviously, I'm not a police officer. I'm not part of law enforcement. This is just a chat GPT thing here. So if anyone wants to correct me on that, by all means, continue to do so. But this first line through it isn't establishing that it's been cleared. That's just an administrative thing that they do, apparently. So my sense is this one here, the first one, sorry, I don't know. I don't think my pointer's working on this, but the one on the left is the original. The line is much darker through it. So what it seems like somebody's done is they've photocopied that and perhaps don't know why, where that's been put. But the original one we know also has something blacked out at the top. I believe it's a DIN number. But also the other thing that was pointed out in Peggy's analysis of this is the holes on the left-hand side. So interesting as well, because that suggests it was in a binder. Now let's look at the logic here, guys. If the first one is printed out and stuck in a binder, where has that gone? Was that the one that Dan Doolan had? Where was it stored? When was it stored in a binder? Because surely they printed it out and then they gave it to him. They wouldn't have put it in a binder and then he got it from a binder. I mean, who knows? I guess that's possible. And whoever had the second sheet, that was printed out before it was put in the binder because it doesn't have the binder holes on it. So, you get what I'm saying here. This is confusing. I mean, this is mind-boggling. It does not make sense. So the left one is the first document. It's clearly been copied. And then the first one's been put in a binder at some point. And apparently as well, that's not the one that Kathy Shank found. Where was this one then? I don't understand where that one was being kept then. And then the second one has somehow been written on multiple times, and that's the one that Kathy Shank found. So if anyone can clear this up, I'm confusing myself talking about it because I don't even understand. So let's just, again, slowing it down. I'm thinking out loud as I'm saying this. So the one on the left, Dan Doolan says is a lead sheet he received. So did he keep that somewhere? Why would he keep it somewhere? I mean, I'm assuming you don't keep lead sheets personally, right? Somewhere. Okay. And then the one on the right is the one that Kathy Shank found. And clearly that's been accessed by multiple people because we have the two different handwritings on it. So you can see again where this narrative doesn't add up now, because how many sheets of paper do we have now referring to Richard Allen Whiteman that are floating around? We've got the two in the file, the manila file that she's filed and organized in there from the banker's box. Was printed in 2019, so don't know when that was accessed. So we've got the 2017 one in the banker's box. We've got the 2019 one presumably in the banker's box at some point. I don't think so, though, because Kathy Shank didn't put things in the banker's box. She took things out of the banker's box. So we've got those two. We've also now got this one here, which Hi guys, sorry to keep you in suspense. Unfortunately, something's going on with my video, so we're missing the final part of it. I'm going to have a fiddle around. Hi guys, sorry to keep you in suspense. Unfortunately, something's going on. Okay, guys, I thought I had said in this is just a chat GPT thing here. So clearly in the file, the manila file that she's filed and organized in there from the banker's box. So there were two in the banker's box at least, although as we've already established, one of those was printed in 2019. So don't know when that was accessed. So we've got the 2017 one in the banker's box. We've got the 2019 one presumably in the banker's box at some point. I don't think so though, because Kathy Shank didn't put things in the banker's box. She took things out of the banker's box. So we've got those two. We've also now got this one here, which is God knows where that was. So we've got 3 paper copies here. 3 paper copies, and I know one of them is the tip narrative. These two are the lead sheets, but that's 3 separate documents from 2017 that were entered into Orion in 2017 and printed that are floating around well before 2022. And actually, no, let's make that 4 because there's another one. Let me pull it up. Okay, here we go. Here's another one, guys. This is Exhibit 232. And here we have the narrative summary. This one was printed 25th of February 2017. So again, who printed that? Because now I just realized that again. So we've got the 2 lead sheets. One copy probably was printed. The other was a copy of a copy. Oh gosh, that's a Louis Tomlinson song. A copy of a copy of a copy. I love Louis Tomlinson for the record. Okay, so we've got the first one. Oh, this is just, it's mind-boggling, guys. It's mind-boggling. I can't even organize all of this because it's so mind-boggling. It's too much. Okay, let's go to 229 first of all. Here we go. And that is printed on the 18th of the 2nd, 2017 at 11:33 a.m. So I'm presuming that was printed before Dan Doolan went to see Rick Allen for the first time. So that makes sense why they would have printed that off Orion for him to take with him to go and chat to Rick. Okay, so that's the first one. We then have the copy of that, which is this one here, which is a part of Exhibit 228. And we can see that's got the same date and time on it down the bottom. We've got 18th of the 2nd, 2017. So same thing, 18th of February. So that's a copy of 229 that we've just seen. Okay, so that makes sense why that was printed then. But what doesn't make sense is now if we go to, like I said, I'm getting lost here, guys. Share this tab instead. Here we go. So now we go to Exhibit 232, and we've got the narrative summary, which has been printed here on the 25th of February. So this is after Doolan has done his interview, entered all the information in. Why did anyone need to print that out then? Only to lose it, apparently, or misfile it. So we've now got 3 pieces of paper floating around. We've got the 2 copies of the first sheet, and we've got this 1 copy of the second sheet. And then we know that Kathy Allen, I don't mean Kathy Allen, I mean Kathy Shank. Kathy Allen, you are not at all in this equation. You are not doing anything unusual here. You are supporting your husband, and you deserve lots of respect for that. Let's go back to Kathy Shank's copy. So if we go back to 228 again, and we look at this one that we have already spoken about at length, this one here, is printed in 2019. So the 29th of October, 2019. So we now have 4 pieces of paper with Richard Allen's information on them, that 3 of which were available in 2017, one of which at least is in 2019. It's hard to know, actually. It's so hard to know now, isn't it? Because you start to wonder, like, this one here, was this photocopied in 2019 to go with this? And that was when the writing was done on it. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? They were accessing both parts of this to look at the phone information and then to clear it, because Rick's phone shows no suspicious activity in that geofence. It probably shows that he went there and then he left. So make that make sense, guys. There are 4 pieces of paper, one of which we know is printed in 2019. This one here is a copy of the page printed in 2017, but has additional annotations on it, the writing by 2 people. These are what Kathy Shank found, but we also have the 2 other exhibits, which are 229 and 232, which were printed in 2017 in February. No issue with anything being printed on the 18th of February. That makes sense. That's when Doolan was about to meet Rick. But why was something printed on the 25th of February? Why were they going back and printing that again? What's the need to print it off Orion if it's cleared and not important to the investigation? And where was that stored? Where has all of this been stored? We've heard about the banker's box. We've heard about the miscellaneous box. We've heard about the manila folders that were made from the banker's box. I'm just confused here. We know as well that Doolan has his own narrative that he typed on Word. Again, he had that available, I believe, on his computer and printed that. But yeah, where was the rest of the stuff? I hope you're following and catching my drift here, guys, because this just really does not make sense.